Hello and welcome to A Helping Hana. This is the first video in a series I'm actually going to release for free, completely free, not even just to patrons. And it's going to address some of the super common, very basic problems I see every day in Second Life. This particular video is all about the AO map. Now, I know some of you are going, everyone uses AO maps. No, they don't. I love shopping, and sometimes I'm out shopping and I see something that's actually pretty cute, but they didn't use the AO map and it just kind of looks like this middle dress here. Now, you might be wondering why I have 3 dresses here. Sometimes as a creator, you'll get something and, well, it's not going to look like this. Most people give you the AO map. It might look like this though. See how grainy that is and how hard to use it is? That's super frustrating. Now, some people are capable of making great AO maps, kind of like this, but I'll show you how to turn one like this a little closer to this. Now, why do I have the middle dress? Because if you don't use an AO map, if someone has lower graphic settings, this is about what they're going to see. Now, if your graphics are pretty high, you do get some natural shading. Just, that happens. But we can't count on our customers having higher end graphics on their computers. Now, as I said, the AO map you get will vary depending what you're buying. So will the UV map. Notice, this is all nicely laid out. So of course the AO map that goes with it is pretty clear and easy to use. This one I made using a different method, so its AO map is also kind of curved and strange. Now, this video is not really going to touch on the UV maps, but we're going to get there. And my patrons are actually going to get a really cool video on how to use your UV map to get great stitching. For now though, we're going to go ahead and save this grainy one to my computer. One thing I will advise if you are new to creating, make a folder for everything you're doing. Name it so that when you go back to it, it's easy to find. That's one of the things I actually learned in college was label things. You will really regret it if you don't. Alright, see you in Photoshop. Okay, here in Photoshop you'll notice I've opened up Grainy Twist Back Dress AO, and I also went ahead and opened up the UV map for the same dress. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click right here on this lock icon to make it go away. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to click the magic wand. It's the stick with the little sparkles coming out of it. If you don't see it, you could see either quick selection or object selection tool. If you right click, you can find your magic wand tool. Next, click the background and then hold shift and click inside the little black area there. Right click and choose select inverse. And I'm sorry, the only way to do this next step is a keyboard shortcut. So use Control and J to duplicate just the white areas. The reason we do that, if we do the next step with the black, then it's going to actually give us more shadow than we really want. So go ahead and right click here and choose delete layer. Double click this layer and name it shadows. And then go up here to filter, choose blur, then Gaussian blur. I think I said that right, I don't know. Now you can zoom in all you want over here to see what it looks like. If you click, it'll show you the before, and let go to see after. You know, some things look better with more blur depending on how it was made, other things less. On this one, I really like how the 1.9 looks. Notice it's pretty smooth. We don't have much grain showing until I click and move, of course. And just hit OK. Notice that smoothed it out. It looks really good, actually. So our next step, we're going to right click here and choose duplicate layer. But we're going to name it highlights. And just hit OK. Now we need a new layer to play with. So go up here to layer and choose new layer. And name this one fabric. Now, you may not have a fabric installed. I'm showing you how I set up my files. So just follow along. Patrons, I'm going to show you how to install fabrics into your Photoshop in another video. So go ahead and hit the paint bucket tool. That one could be hiding under gradient or 3D material drop 2. Again, just right click if you don't see paint bucket. Click and fill the background with white. Make sure you're on your fabric layer when you do that. So then go to your fabric layer and right click it. Choose blending options, pattern overlay, and if you don't have the fabrics I'm going to have installed, then just use whatever you have as a pattern. We'll try this one for now. Just hit OK. Now, personally, I have a hard time seeing the difference here. Even if I zoom in, it's really hard to see. So I'm going to make a new layer. You can either use the keyboard shortcut Shift-Control-N or Layer, New Layer, and name this one Color. And for right now, we're going to be crazy and just make the whole thing one color. So again, click your paint bucket tool, fill it, and yes, I filled it in white because I don't like having to go back and change things later. So go over here to your color one, right click, and choose blending options right here. First set, right here where it says blend mode, change that to linear burn. Then go here to color overlay and pick whatever color you like. I really like shades of blue. I don't really like shading with yellow. You could do purple, pink. This is literally just for fun for now. On your own outfits, it'll be whatever color you're making. Sometimes it'll be to match a pattern. Sometimes it will be for something else. So once you've got a color that you're happy to at least play with for now, hit OK. You'll notice, since we set this to linear burn, you're able to see the fabric through the color, but not on the parts of the outfit. So that's what we're going to change next. Click where it says shadows, right here. Normal, change to linear burn. And then you notice you can't see any change. Just trust me and set it to about 50. We can go back and alter this later. Click highlights and set that to overlay. Click here, and I generally do between like 13 and 20. Generally I don't go above like 25. This one I really like at about 21%. Notice we're not changing our color too much. Now, if you want to see what the linear burn we just set did, you can turn off highlights. Sometimes I don't use an overlay layer, depends on what I'm going for, but it does give you much nicer highlighting on your fabric. So, let's go ahead and see what this looks like. We're going to go ahead and save as test AO redo. And just save it as a photoshop.psd whatever. Hit save. Okay. Then file, save as, and go ahead and save it as a PNG file. Then we're going to go into Second Life, right click, edit. Now, if you haven't been working with local textures, I'm about to save you some money. Click this little button that says local, choose add, and then choose test AO redo or whatever you named yours. And hit OK. Now, no one else can see your local textures. That's just for you. But it's a really great opportunity to see how your shadows, your highlights, and everything look in world. Now, I don't know about you. As much as I like blue, I like for there to be at least 2 colors on whatever I'm buying. So we're going to go ahead and go back to Photoshop and go to the UV map. Right click here where it says layer 1 and choose duplicate layer. But where it says destination document, put that on Test AO Redo. Now, click your magic wand, click in the layer, but also make sure you click the little inside of the thing too. Then, I want you to right click, select inverse, but we have an extra step. Select, modify, expand. And I'm going to go ahead and expand by 2 pixels. The reason we're doing this is later, if we don't expand, then the very edges of our thing, you see right here where it's that slightly lighter because the light's hitting it differently in Second Life, that will have weird white on it, and we don't like that. So we have selected, we've expanded. Now we're going to go to color, and we're just going to hit Control J. And then we're going to turn off our UV map. If you want to keep your layers neat, name it UV. Now, go back to our layer we created and rename it Color 2. You'll notice both of our color layers have the same color. I'm actually going to hide this color layer and just duplicate the one I made. So go to Color 2, Control J. Now, the way this mesh is made, I like for the top to be one color and the little knot and bottom to be a second color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this Color. And this is going to be the color for the skirt. Thank you. It's so great when you're helpful, Photoshop. I love it. And then it's going to be this little knot as well. And we're just going to hit Control X on Color 2. Control X will delete all of that. But we also need to get rid of the shirt, the top part, using our eraser over here. And we're going to change it in just a second. Okay, so we have isolated the skirt to one layer, the top to a second layer. Now we can change the color of, let's change the color of the skirt. Right click, choose blending options, color overlay, and we're just going to change it. Maybe I want a light top and a dark bottom to the skirt. Hit OK, OK. Now, you notice when we did that, it's a little too dark. Sometimes we have to go ahead and maybe turn our linear burn down, or maybe select a slightly lighter color just so it will apply correctly and look exactly how we want it to. I actually really like how that looks. That's a little better. You can also go back and maybe lighten up your linear burn on your map if you need to. It all depends on how you want this to look. Go File, Save As, PNG, then you can go in here and see that is what it looks like. Now, the way we did this, with the fabric being on the bottom and colors over, if we want to add a detail to this, like if I wanted to add polka dots, I could either rasterize the layer, or I could make a new layer and just copy, paste the layer style from the fabric layer so that whatever I draw actually has that fabric. You don't have to do that step, but if you skip, then it's just going to be like a solid white dot, and it will lose some of the fabric-y texture it would otherwise have. So, I know my dots are pretty terrible. I'm going to add a couple more so that they look like maybe I at least, okay, yeah, that one was bad. Down here, and here. Save as, PNG, boop. Now we have a skirt and a shirt. Both have a nice fabric texture on them. Now, maybe you want to be crazy and you really want the top to have a different fabric. You can do that. Rather than setting the top to linear burn here, just set it to normal. right click here, blending options, and change the pattern overlay to whatever texture you want. You can even make it more opaque. You can change the scale. Maybe I'm going to do this one kind of ridiculous to make it easy to see. File, save as. There. So you see, you can do whatever you want with it. It's a matter of learning what are the tools and then playing with them to get the effect you want. Don't do this particular effect. It looks kind of weird. But you can see you're able to change whatever you want within that. So in this video, we talked about how to use a Gaussian blur to smooth out an AO map, how to set a highlight and a shadow layer to get more natural lighting, how to add layers that are not transparent, how to use linear burn to get great fabric effects, and how to change something and be a little crazy if we need to, so that one part of our mesh can have a different texture than the rest. Thank you. I hope to see you at my next video.